Financing again. Network Capital Funding is offering our lowest 30-year fixed rate ever. 2.625 with a 2.64% APR. Incredible, with no origination fees or discount points. Network Capital has built a reputation for saving people time and money with our unique process that's fast, simple, and secure. Our 30-year fixed rate is 2.625 with a 2.64% APR. Incredible! These are historically low rates you may never see again. So refinance it and forget it. That's a 30-year fixed at 2.625 with a 2.64% APR. Call the experts at Network Capital Funding now. 800-500-1-HIT. 800-500-1-HIT as in home run. Call now and save big on your refi. 800-500-1-HIT. 800-500-1448. NMLS ID 11712. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Licensed by the California Department of Business Oversight under the Finance Lenders Law. Number 603D787. An equal opportunity lender. Rates subject to change and credit approval. Call 800-500-1-HIT for more information.
KCBS News Time, 1:58. Let's check traffic again. Here's George.
Still major delays for BART with problems between 24th Street and Glen Park Station. Outbound to the rest of the line, major delays from the East Bay to the East Bay, and no direct service between San Francisco stations and the Richmond-Berryessa lines. A bus bridge has been set up between downtown San Francisco, Muni Mutual Aid, and Balboa Park Station. North Bay, it was the delays on 37 at Skaggs Island due to the westbound accident that have left us still slow, mostly now in the commute direction eastbound from just past Lakeville, heading past Highway 121. And San Francisco continues to slow, heading toward the Bay Bridge and the East Bay. Kim has your next update at 2:08 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
And our forecast looks nice this afternoon. We'll have some sunshine, clouds moving back into the coast and around the bay later this evening. Lows in the 40s and 50s. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on KCBS. It is Monday, July 13th, and coming up this afternoon on KCBS.
I'm Doug Sovereign. Governor Newsom is shutting things down again with COVID-19 out of control.
We are announcing additional statewide actions.
I'm Melissa Colross with the nation's top infectious disease specialist on the COVID-19 pandemic and plans to convince skeptics to get a vaccine once one is available.
And the Washington Redskins agree to a name and logo change. Jeff Bell and Patty Rising continue the News Watch at 2:03. CBS News covers the world next.
When you need to know, KCBS AM, KFRC FM, and HD1. San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, a radio.com station.
2 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Steve Futterman in Los Angeles. It's back to the future here in California. Governor Gavin Newsom today reinstituting tough COVID-19 restrictions.
This is a new statewide action effective today. Every county in the state of California impacted by a requirement now to modify indoor operations.
It will affect 80% of the state's population. The World Health Organization said today, don't expect the COVID-19 crisis to end soon. Dr. Michael Ryan.
We need to learn to live with this virus. Expecting that we will eradicate or eliminate this virus in the coming months is not realistic.
The Washington Redskins are soon to be no more. Today, under intense pressure, the team announced it will change its name, which many felt was racist. John Echohawk is with the Native American Rights Fund.
They need to make a change, and they've made it, so hopefully they'll come up with something that doesn't diminish our culture and human dignity.
President Trump today is defending his action last week, commuting the sentence of Mr. Trump's longtime associate, Roger Stone.
President Trump casts his longtime political mentor as a victim.
We're getting rave reviews for what I did.
Democrats who say Roger Stone lied to investigators to protect Mr. Trump have called the president's intervention corrupt. But Mr. Trump claimed Stone was treated very unfairly by prosecutors, and he suggests his old friend may continue to fight his conviction.
He frankly is going to go and now appeal his case. He had a jury forewoman who hated Roger Stone.
The judge who heard the case rejected Stone's request for a new trial. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, Washington.
A planned federal execution is on hold. Here's CBS's Claire Himes.
The execution of Daniel Lewis Lee has been halted once again after a federal judge ruled that he and 3 other men on death row have unresolved legal issues that must be addressed before the executions can take place, specifically in regards to the lethal injection protocol. The Justice Department immediately appealed the court's ruling.
Tennessee's governor today signed into law one of the strictest abortion bans in the country. but a federal district judge quickly blocked it. More from CBS's Kate Smith.
Tennessee's regulation would have prohibited abortions after embryonic cardiac activity could be detected, something that happens about 6 weeks into a pregnancy and generally before a woman knows she's pregnant.
35 years ago today. Sting and Phil Collins performing at the legendary Live Aid concert in London. A simultaneous concert took place in Philadelphia. It was watched by 2 billion people, raising money for famine relief in Africa. The stock market's reaction to the California closures took a deep dive at the end. The Dow lost 10. This is CBS News.
You can listen to CBS News Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on radio.com or the radio.com app. Download it today.
It's 2:03 at the Bay Area's news station KCBS. Much needed cooling inland this afternoon, partly sunny and cool along the coast. Good afternoon. I'm Patty Rising along with Jeff Bell. Here's what's happening.
County Governor Gavin Newsom is taking immediate statewide action to try to get the coronavirus pandemic back in check. KCBS political reporter Doug Sovereign says the governor is shutting down bars and indoor dining again and taking other steps in the hardest hit counties, including most of the Bay Area.
Whatever California had been doing the last few months is no longer working, with coronavirus positivity rates, hospitalizations, and ICU cases still spiking ever higher and COVID-19 deaths continuing to mount. So Governor Newsom is taking the state back to where it was in the spring, ordering all 58 counties to close down indoor activities that had been allowed to reopen.
Restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms, movie theaters, family entertainment centers, zoos and museums, card rooms, and the shuttering of all bars. This is in every county in the state of California, not just the counties that were on the monitoring list.
And for the 31 counties on that watch list, which includes the entire Bay Area except San Francisco and San Mateo counties, there are additional restrictions. Houses of worship, hair and nail salons, gyms, non-essential offices, and indoor malls must close again. The governor also said there are new rules coming regarding school safety, namely contact sports, choirs, and school buses. The governor would not acknowledge the confusion and frustration of so many Californians about the way this is being handled, even after being reminded by reporters he's the guy in charge.
Well aware of my responsibilities, well aware of the dynamic that is a state as large as ours.
He reiterated the best way to control the pandemic until there's a vaccine is to wear masks, wash hands, and watch your distance. Doug Sovereign, KCBS.
Well, continued closures are hard on everyone, and in San Francisco, Mayor London Breed says she's relying on data to make decisions. As KCBS's Kathy Novak reports, the mayor discussed that data in an online conversation with the head of the city's public health department.
With so much of the city still closed, Mayor London Breed acknowledges people are depressed and stressed out.
It's almost as if we're trading one public health crisis for another.
That's true, says Public Health Director Grant Colfax.
There are downsides to where we are right now, and the alternative, unfortunately, is even worse.
City leaders have been watching the numbers for infections and hospitalizations and say we're having
get into a scenario like New York, or unfortunately like we're seeing in Houston right now and in parts of Florida. We would have all the concerns that you're talking about on top of overwhelming the hospital system, the deaths due to COVID-19.
Modeling shows hospitalizations could go well beyond the peak in April of 94.
It is now plausible, very plausible, that we hit hospitalizations at 830 if we do not do more to stop the spread.
In San Francisco, Kathy Novak, KCBS.
The number of COVID-19 cases continues to surge in states all across the country. However, as KCBS's Melissa Colross reports, the nation's top infectious disease specialist says even without a vaccine, we can slow down the spread of the disease.
There are hundreds of thousands of COVID-19 cases in California alone, and as the economy continues to reopen, the risk of infection increases. But Dr. Anthony Fauci says we can protect ourselves.
There are things you can do now: physical distance, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, washing hands. Those things, as simple as they are, can turn it around. And I think we can do that. And that's what we've got to do looking forward.
In conversation with the dean of Stanford Medicine, Fauci says he continues to be cautiously optimistic that we'll have a vaccine by the beginning of next year. And reiterating what he told KCBS in an exclusive interview last week, he says community outreach will be necessary to reassure people who are wary of vaccines.
We now have a network of community workers who are getting ready and prepping them up to go into the community and try and convince people of why it's important for them and for their families to get vaccinated.
Dr. Fauci also praises Governor Newsom for his handling of the pandemic. Melissa Call-Ross, KCBS.
Just ahead on KCBS, plans for high-speed transit may railroad plans for home development in Belmont.
Let's check transit on the roadways and bridges right now as we bid good afternoon to Kim Vessel. She has our KCBS traffic updates. Hello, Kim.
Hello, happy Monday afternoon. We'll start in the North Bay. This update brought to you by the Workman Law Firm. Getting calls from the KCBS phone force about the smell of smoke in Santa Rosa near downtown. And we do have firefighters on the scene of a 2-alarm vegetation fire in the area of Stony Point Road and Mule Deer Lane. And that is likely the reason you smell and possibly see that smoke. We're tweeting updates too if you follow us at KCBS AM FM Traffic on Twitter. Highway 37 still slow westbound between Skaggs Island and Sears Point in stretches because of an earlier accident. Long gone. Eastbound was also impacted as well. And speaking of transit, BART, major delays still, both directions affected between Daly City and 24th. There will be ongoing delay. Independent contractor, do you wonder if you should be treated as an employee and reimbursed for expenses like mileage, cell phone usage, and insurance? Call the Workman Law Firm to find out. 844-99-WORKMAN or online at callworkmanlaw.com. Next update, 2:18 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Well, you are really feeling the cooling inland. 5, 10, maybe up to 15 degrees cooler today compared to the weekend. We're seeing highs mid-80s, maybe a few low 90s a little bit later on. Mid-60s, low 70s near the bay, low 60s with partly sunny skies at the coast. We are going to see areas of low clouds and fog near the coast and bay overnight through tomorrow morning with afternoon clearing, and then temperatures should stay in the same range. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
It's time for the Xfinity Sports Flashback. This week in 1994, Cleveland slugger Albert Bell was discovered using a corked bat in a game against the White Sox at Comiskey Park. Suspicious umpires confiscated the bat and taking it to the umpire's locker room. But it got interesting when Bell's teammate, pitcher Jason Grimsley, climbed into the ventilation shaft with a flashlight in his mouth, crawled above the ceiling until he eventually got to the umpire's room, dropping down, removing the tainted bat, and replacing it with one from teammate Paul Sorrento, which did not look like the one umpires had apprehended. They later asked Cleveland to hand over another bat used by Albert Bell. The problem there, as Bell's teammate Omar Vizquel later put it, all of Albert's bats were corked. He was given a flashback brought to you by Xfinity, reinventing entertainment so you can enjoy it your way. Xfinity, the future of awesome.
At Prime Mail Medical, they understand how frustrating it can be to experience difficulties in your intimate life. Their mission is to provide you the medical care you need for improved performance.
At Prime Mail Medical, we have virtually every medication known to man to help men. We specialize in treatments for ED and low T, and we have a 99% success rate. Most impotence problems can be treated in just one visit.
That's Dr. Robert Rowley from Prime Mail Medical.
We offer a variety of treatments, including high-dose sublingual lozenges, ultrasound-based shockwave therapy, and injectable therapies. We can also treat testosterone issues when needed.
Prime Mail Medical in the East Bay and San Francisco. Get your customized evaluation for just $99, which covers a full year of free visits, including a PSA test, testosterone test, and ultrasound. Call now, 415-761-4037, or go to primemailmedical.com. That's 415-761-4037.
KCBS News Time 2:11. We're getting a late word out of Southern California that the body found floating in a Southern California lake today is that of Glee star Naya Rivera. Ventura County Sheriff's officials confirming at a news conference this afternoon that the body found was 33-year-old Rivera. The discovery came 5 days after Rivera's 4-year-old son was found asleep and alone on a rented boat.
Brisbane would be home to a new light rail maintenance facility when high-speed rail service finally rolls into the Bay Area. KCBS reporter Tim Ryan tells us it is the cities of San Jose and Belmont that could be the most impacted by the time service begins years from now.
The question in Brisbane is exactly where the yard would be located. It could interrupt plans for major residential development. The question in Belmont, how many homes and businesses will be condemned, depending upon whether passing tracks are added, and the number could total almost 75 properties. Charles Stone is Belmont Vice Mayor.
If it's alternative A and we can do this without passing tracks, that's fantastic. If there's going to be passing tracks, there's going to be substantial impacts to areas between South San Mateo and North Redwood City.
San Carlos would see its train station moved almost a half-mile south, and some of the largest loss of homes and businesses would be at the approach to the massive Diridon station in San Jose. The project's costs and the completion date are constantly changing.
So I do think it will be finished at some point. Will I ever ride it or you? I have my doubts, but I think my kids might.
The public has 45 days to comment on the draft EIR. Tim Ryan, KCBS.
Russell Westbrook has announced he's tested positive for the coronavirus. Kevin will have the story in 2 minutes.
Attention investors. Here is in 1929, 87, 08, now again in 2020. The market has lost over trillions of dollars in value. At Riverfront Brokerage, our investors haven't lost a dime because investments are protected in an asset class that has been around for over 100 years and will retain its value through all the market losses and world events. Now, as in the past, our investors are expecting a 60% yield at maturity. Learn more about this opportunity. Call Riverfront Brokerage today at 877-484-2424. Don't lose what you've worked so hard for. Investors have the option of investing using a cash, self-directed IRA, or 401ks. Call Riverfront Brokerage and get your free investor's guide to protecting your retirement capital. That's 877-484-2424. Riverfront Brokerage is not a United States security dealer or broker or U.S. investment advisor. This is not an offer to sell or a solicitation of any other to buy any securities.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas.
We saved serious cash with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the money to buy a new boat.
Who's ready to water ski?
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough for a new boat. They'll probably spend it on rent or gas money or maybe one of those little plastic wading pools for the yard.
Ahoy there!
Is what the captain might say. On the toy boat. In your wading pool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
For Orlando, Florida. He says he's feeling well and will join the team once he's cleared. Also, James Harden and recent addition Luc Mbah a Moute didn't travel with the Rockets to Orlando. Yesterday, head coach Mike D'Antoni said he hoped all three players would be able to arrive at the Walt Disney World complex in 3 or 4 days. That certainly won't happen for Westbrook. I don't know about Harden and Mbah a Moute. D'Antoni basically sloughed that off. He said they're going through some things. Westbrook would need first to be cleared, then jump on a private plane. Then he'd have to go through a 48-hour quarantine once he arrives in the bubble. So it's complicated. He said he hopes to rejoin the team for the restart of the season, which begins July 30th. But again, he'll arrive, he'll have to quarantine. He won't be in game shape, so it could be a while. Laker guard Rajon Rondo is going to be out a while. In fact, out 6 to 8 weeks. He broke his right thumb in practice, a big blow for the Lakers. They are already without guard Avery Bradley, who opted out because of health concerns with his 6-year-old son Liam. And in case you missed it, the Washington NFL franchise has decided to drop its nickname, the Redskins, and the logo after recent pressure from sponsors and decades of criticism that they are offensive to Native Americans. The change comes less than 2 weeks after team owner Dan Snyder launched an organizational review of the name. Snyder and head coach Ron Rivera are working on a new name and logo design. It's unclear when the new name and logo will be unveiled. At the sports desk, Kevin Radich, KCBS.
Hello, I'm a famous rock star. You're too kind. Anyway, I'm just a regular guy. I love my family, and I love my Skechers. Looks like Skechers is getting some love too. They've got slip-ons, flexible knits, and so many ultra-comfortable shoes with Skechers exclusive air-cooled memory foam. Yep, when it comes to comfort and style at a great price, absolutely nothing beats Skechers.
Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
At CDW, we get that multiple branches and distributed locations can leave your IT staff stressed out, like Phil here.
Hey, don't talk to me without a ticket.
Fortunately, CDW can implement an Aruba SD branch solution that streamlines IT operations with simple onboarding tools and unified management of wired and wireless connections. It's like a big warm IT hug.
Yeah, you'll still need a ticket.
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Aruba. Aruba, a Hewlett-Packard Enterprise company.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. Tender steaks, awesome burgers, and California classics like tri-tip roast. Flavor you crave, quality you trust.
Find a store near you at harrisranchbeef.com.
KCBS traffic and weather at 2:18. Patty's got the 6-day forecast coming right up, but first, Kim is back with more traffic news.
We'll start with your ride in and around San Francisco. Nothing much out of the ordinary this afternoon. In fact, your ride to the lower deck of the Bay Bridge does start to slow down. Pretty typical, though. Traffic stacked up onto northbound 101 from just before the Central Freeway split, and no problems reported in either direction between Oakland and San Francisco. I can see traffic on the East Shore Freeway is also moving well, both eastbound and westbound Interstate 80 between Emeryville and the Carquinez Bridge if you're headed into Vallejo. And nearby, Highway 37 it continues to improve. Chilton Auto Body Collision Cam tracking delays from a much earlier accident westbound that really tied things up between Skaggs Island and Sears Point. Now, westbound is pretty much back to normal. Eastbound, because the commute's kicking in, is slow before Sears Point in stretches to Skaggs Island. Next update, 2:28 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Let's talk about the 6-day Bay Area weather forecast. Definitely cooling off. Inland areas feeling it the most this afternoon. We are talking low 90s later this afternoon. Mid 60s, low 70s near the Bay, and partly sunny skies and low 60s at the coast. Overnight, low clouds and fog near the water through tomorrow morning. It'll clear there in the afternoon. Temperatures are going to stay in the same range tomorrow and Wednesday. Much cooler on Thursday with temperatures near normal Friday, and then more sunshine and warmer temperatures for the weekend. Traffic and weather together on the 8s, sponsored by Harris Ranch Beef. KCBS News Time, 2:20.
President Trump has told 20,000 lies since he's taken office. That, according to the Washington Post fact checker, and a great many of those have come during these days of the coronavirus pandemic and protests over the custody death in custody death of George Floyd. For more, we turn to the KCBS Ring Central Newsline and check in with Meg Kelly, Washington Post fact checker.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year. Sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
It just doesn't feel like summer without an ice-cold Coca-Cola in your hand. Stop by your local convenience store today and grab a 20-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Or pick up even more delicious refreshment with a 20-ounce bottle of Diet Coke, Sprite, or Fanta. So no matter how you soak in that summer sun, at home or on the go, grab an ice-cold Coca-Cola today and enjoy.
As the president feels more under fire, whether that's from the Russia investigation or the Ukraine probe, or sort of critical coverage of the coronavirus response, he tends to say more false and misleading things in an attempt to shift the conversation and change the narrative.
Give us the top 2 or 3 most repeated false or misleading claims.
Sure. Well, President Trump's, all-time winner, if you will, is he often will claim that we had or have the best economy ever in history. Sometimes it's ever in the world. In sort of recent weeks, it's been the greatest economy ever in the world is what we had before COVID, and it will come back. The fact of the matter is, though, by sort of several different measures, presidents as recent as Bill Clinton had stronger economies that they had under their watch. Another favorite of the president's sort of goes back to his longstanding belief about how trade works, and he often claims that the country is being ripped off or is losing money on trade deals. And the truth is that countries don't make or lose money on trade. Essentially, it's a barter system, and so it's not sort of like you get money deposited into your bank account. And another favorite of his, again, is sort of an economic accomplishment, is that he passed the biggest tax cut, which, has faded a little bit in recent weeks, but was a big talker before the midterms. And the president's tax cut actually is the 8th largest in American history, and 2 that were passed by Barack Obama were in fact larger, which is something that, he would certainly shies away from saying.
Thank you so much. Meg Kelly is Washington Post fact checker. We're checking in on Wall Street now. We have Larry Kofsky. Jason Brooks is off today.
Early gains on Wall Street faded in the afternoon, leaving stocks mostly lower. Traders worried that rising COVID-19 cases may slow the economic recovery. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 11, the S&P slumped 30, the Nasdaq dropped 227. The federal deficit set a record high in June as efforts to combat the recession raised spending and job losses cut tax revenue. The deficit hit $864 billion, more than most full-year deficits in U.S. history. Juul Labs wants to stop fake vapes. It's going after 4 dozen companies that it says are importing copycat cartridges for its e-cigarettes. It's accusing them of patent infringement, hoping to block imports. Tiger King or the Lion King? On Wall Street, the tiger wins. Netflix, home to Tiger King, has seen its market value take a solid lead over Disney, where Simba the Lion rules the realm. $250 billion versus $216 billion. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Business for KCBS.
Did you know Geico's now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies? That's on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? Your baby to let you sleep in?
We could sleep in another half hour? Thanks, sweetheart.
Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th. Limitations apply. Visit geico.com for details.
Businesses are starting to bounce back. But what if you could do better than that? What if you could adapt, deliver, and succeed in new ways with new customers? At Comcast Business, we're committed to helping you not just bounce back, but bounce forward. That's why we're offering a powerful and reliable internet and voice solution now for only $64.90 a month with a 2-year agreement. It'll help you stay ahead with a network you can count on. Stay connected with 24/7 support and thrive with flexible solutions that work wherever you are. Call 1-800-501-6000 or go online today to find out more. Plus, ask how to get a prepaid card worth up to $300. Comcast Business. Offer ends 8/22/2020. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 35 megabits internet and 1 voice line. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, installation, taxes, and fees extra, subject to change.
What would you call a huge hospital chain that breaks its promises in the middle of a pandemic? Shameful? Unconscionable? Here in San Jose, you would call them HCA Healthcare. HCA Healthcare is the huge hospital chain that owns Good Samaritan Hospital and Regional Medical Center. And in the middle of the pandemic, HCA tried to take away their workers' hard-earned raise. When our healthcare heroes objected, HCA took it out of their retirement. That's the same HCA Healthcare that had over $12 billion in revenue in just 3 months in 2020. The same HCA that took over $5 billion in federal coronavirus bailouts and paid their CEO Samuel Hazen an eye-popping $26 million. A hospital chain that pushes its workers to the breaking point in a pandemic, then pulls the rug out from under them? That's HCA Healthcare. Paid for by SEIU, United Healthcare Workers West.
Off to the Nimitz Freeway for more KCBS traffic news. And Kim has that for us. Kim?
And this normally happens mid-afternoon. Your ride northbound out of Union City into Hayward starts to get a little sticky, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. An earlier crash was cleared quickly on the connector from eastbound 92 to northbound 880. There's still some residual slowing there, but just a minor. So, in fact, I'm looking at your ride out of Foster City eastbound on the San Mateo Bridge. A nice ride this afternoon. No delays on the Dumbarton Bridge. Sunol grade, just a brake light or two after you pass Durham Auto Mall northbound 680, but you're right on the Sunol grade to the 84 interchange at the limit, moving well. And you ride up and down the peninsula, and I'm checking 101 and 280 right now. Looks great. Wide open, northbound and southbound. So good time to be in the car. Next update, 2:38 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Cloudy and hazy near the coast and some parts of the bay this afternoon, with highs low 60s at the beaches, mid 60s to low 70s near the bay, and mid 80s to low 90s inland. More of the same tomorrow and Wednesday. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
Hi, this is Matt Jesse, president of MB Jesse Painting, and I have some great news. We are back. My team of over 50 amazing painters is ready to do what we do best, providing awesome painting services for homes and businesses throughout the Bay Area. We are committed to doing every job safely and on time. Contact us today for your free painting estimate. Call 855-MB-JESSE or visit us online at mbjesse.com.
MB Jesse.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
News that matters to you around the Bay, around the world, around the clock. All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
Monday, July 13th, 2020. Coming up, there's another incentive for some that stress out to chill out instead. Santa Clara County's new order says it's back to business for hair and nail salons. Not the case for most of the state of California, though. Rollbacks of openings like indoor restaurants, movie theaters, and bars throughout the state. Good afternoon. I'm Patty Rising along with Jeff Bell. It's 2:31.
CBS News Update. California under a partial lockdown again as the state faces huge spikes in COVID-19 cases. California Governor Gavin Newsom.
Every county in the state of California impacted by a requirement now to modify indoor operations and to expand opportunities for outdoor operations.
And there are now reports Texas is also considering new restrictions. In New York City, for the first time since the crisis began, there was not a single COVID-19 death in a 24-hour period. But Mayor Bill de Blasio says he cannot be happy.
We look around the country and we see what so many other Americans are going through, so many other states and cities hurting so bad right now. So no one can celebrate.
Dr. Anthony Fauci today said the U.S. made a strategic mistake months ago.
We did not shut down entirely, and that's the reason why when we went up.
CBS News Update. I'm Steve Futterman.
KCBS News Time, 2:32.
And a little bit more on what Steve just mentioned in the CBS Update. California Governor Gavin Newsom has, in fact, just announced that effective immediately, the state is closing some indoor businesses. Those include dine-in restaurants, wineries, and tasting rooms, zoos, museums, and bars, which must stop all operations. Most counties on the state's monitoring list for 3 days must also close some additional businesses. KCBS's Doug Sovern covering the governor's announcement today. He'll have more for us throughout the afternoon.
Well, as the number of young adults infected with the coronavirus surges nationwide, a new study looks at the risk factors for severe COVID-19 cases in young people. A closer look from KCBS's Mike DeWald.
While people over the age of 65 are significantly more likely to be hospitalized than younger people, the gap is narrowing. Hospitalizations of 18 to 29-year-olds grew at twice the rate of those over age 65 between April and June. The most severe cases in older adults tend to be in those with underlying medical conditions. It's something UCSF's Dr. Sally Adams says often gives young people a false sense of security.
They tend not to have a lot of serious chronic illnesses compared to as people age more and start to acquire more problems with blood pressure or diabetes or weight.
Adams led a UCSF study that found smoking contributed to the highest medical risk factor among young people. The study factored in cigarettes, cigars, and e-cigarettes. With smoking among young people on the rise, those that smoked faced twice the risk of being medically vulnerable to severe disease than non-smokers. Adams says that some of the benefits of quitting smoking can be seen in just weeks. Mike DeWald, KCBS.
A new study suggests the Ridgecrest earthquakes last year in Southern California increased the chances of a big quake hitting on the San Andreas Fault. Study co-author Ross Stein is CEO of the catastrophe modeling company Temblor. He says the quakes put more stress on the Garlock Fault.
So the mighty Garlock connects the Ridgecrest Fault to the San Andreas. And if it ruptured in a very large earthquake that extended almost to or up to the San Andreas, there's a 50-50 chance it would immediately trigger a great southern San Andreas rupture.
Stein says the chance of a big quake on the San Andreas within the next year is still low at just over 1%. He says a quake on one fault triggering one on another fault happens frequently. KCBS News Time 2:34. We're going to have Dave Ross in less than a minute.
Making popcorn for movie night?
Whoa, who are you?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless. What if every time you tried a new streaming service, you had to buy a new TV?
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, some wireless companies do that when you switch. Make you buy a new phone.
Right.
But TracFone Wireless lets you keep your phone and your number and your network and gives you unlimited talk and text starting at $20 a month.
Seriously, who are you?
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Oh, you're burning it.
Oh, no.
Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
For muscle pain, body aches, to strains, Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis. It works fast and you won't stink. Its unique formula with emu oil penetrates deep to relieve arthritis pain, sore muscles, joints, and more.
When you think solar, think Semper Solaris.
Risking boredom. This is Dave Ross on the CBS News Radio Network, presented by Capital One Bank. Around the country, police departments are trying to figure out what it means to be defunded. In New York City, $1 billion will be shifted from the New York Police Department to Youth and Social Services. In Los Angeles, the council cut the police budget by $150 million. Not enough, said Melina Abdullah of Black Lives Matter.
It does not reflect the kind of fundamental reimagining of public safety that's necessary to protect Black life.
And in Seattle, Police Chief Carmen Best released a video warning that her new budget would mean firing or transferring 1,100 employees, half the total workforce, starting in October.
I do not believe we should ask the people of Seattle to test out a theory that crime goes away if police go away. That is completely reckless.
It's happening across the country. Police budgets cut, protest leaders saying cut more. So how about something really radical? Give the budget book to some of the protesters and hire them to go through it. They draw lines through the items they want to cut and sign their names. They get the credit if it works, the blame if it doesn't. Protests are great for raising awareness, but it all seems to fall apart in the budget process. And I realize that's the boring part, but for demonstrators who risked tear gas, sting balls, and even bullets, risking boredom should be easy. Dave Ross on the CBS News Radio Network.
Why settle for average? With Capital One, you can open a new savings account with a rate 5 times the national average. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet? Capital One N.A., member FDIC.
All you have to do is point. Full service junk removal. 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Have you noticed?